Welcome to Rooted with Rachel. My name is Rachel Boucher, and this is where you'll find fresh joy for your journey. Sovereignty is not a word we use often. GotQuestions.com describes the sovereignty of God like this. The fact that God is sovereign essentially means that he has the power, wisdom, and authority to do anything he chooses within his creation. Anything he chooses is most likely not what we would choose if given the chance. His ways are not our ways, and his thoughts are not our thoughts. Sometimes in our season of silence, we miss the most glaring truth because our minds are focused on the immediate pain before us. We miss God's sovereignty in our situation because we are seeking to control the uncontrollable. Seasons of silence can cause us to be blind to the tiny messages of hope wrapped up in our suffering. Today's passage contains a glimpse of God's sovereignty in 3 insignificant words that we can miss if we don't pay attention. Luke 2:1-7 says, "In those days, a decree went out from Caesar Augustus that all the world should be registered. This was the first registration when Quirinius was governor of Syria. And all went to be registered, each to his own town. And Joseph also went up from Galilee, from the town of Nazareth, to Judea, to the city of David, which is called Bethlehem, because he was of the house and lineage of David, to be registered with Mary, his betrothed, who was with child. And while they were there, the time had come for her to give birth. And she gave birth to her firstborn son, and wrapped him in swaddling cloths, and laid him in a manger, because there was no place for them in the inn." Do you see the 3 most insignificant words in this passage that are really significant? It's the first 3 words, "in those days." These 3 words speak of God's sovereignty over time and history. They speak of his promise kept. They speak of his perfect timing. You see, it just so happened that God had chosen as part of his miraculous plan to fulfill the prophecy in Micah 5 in this way. Micah 5:2 says, "But you, O Bethlehem, Ephrathah, who are too little to be among the clans of Judah, from you shall come forth for me one who is to be ruler in Israel, whose coming forth is from of old, from ancient days." It just so happened that the census that would be the catalyst for the fulfillment of this prophecy was issued around the time of Jesus' birth. Now, this was not a convenient time for a young girl who's about to have her first child. Also, keep in mind, she has never been with a man. On top of all that, consider the fact that they had to travel by donkey on dusty, rugged paths filled with many perils, pregnant. If that wasn't enough to put someone into labor, I don't know what would do it. But God was sovereign in his timing. The baby would be born in Bethlehem. I wonder if Mary thought, this has got to be the worst timing ever. What is God up to? Why would he have all of this happen right when I'm about to give birth? Hasn't she struggled enough already with all the gossip swirling around this young girl's world, let alone the fear she felt at the anticipation of giving birth to a child? She would give birth to her first child with no help from a doctor, no midwife, or soft hospital bed, or even a bed at all. She gave birth in the most unsanitary of situations. Doesn't seem ideal, doesn't make sense in our minds, but our seasons of waiting and silence are never ideal, are they? God's timing is never on our timetable. He is always on time. He is sovereign in all of our difficult journeys through suffering. It would be tempting to just not make the journey, to determine because it is too difficult, it must not be God's plan for us to step into that hard path laid out before us. But the problem is, God's plan was sovereignly going to happen through that journey. He had to get them to Bethlehem somehow. We struggle with these thoughts when faced with the tough journey mapped out before us, while we are already in a season of waiting. We wonder, really, God? Why would you pile this tough situation on top of an already difficult circumstance? Is there a shortcut? Can we just pass? But God has sovereignly ordained that path to be our journey through the pain, a journey that would lead us straight to Jesus. An expectant woman staring down the face of her due date knows this feeling all too well. The only way out is through. There is no other option. When the first cry of the God of the universe sent in human form pierced the silence, I can't imagine what must have been going through her and Joseph's minds. In our suffering, the way out is through. God sovereignly ordains the path before us that is often rugged and dusty, but it ends with us getting Jesus. Trust his plan. Pay attention to the little glimpses along the journey. Notice his sovereignty in all things and see his care along your painful path. Everything happens for a reason. We just need to trust the one who paves the path. Carry this breath prayer in your heart today. Breathe in, God, you pave the path before me. And then breathe out, help me trust your sovereignty.